It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show.
Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show, episode 133. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, June 15th, 2025, a great day for a podcast about video games and more. So I hope you're doing great out there in the world, whenever and wherever you're listening to this. Shout out to Shakira, and just thank you for being here. The first order of business, however, is to ask you to follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. If you'd like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. Also, Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. So for today's show, as always, we have three sections. The first section, I'll tell you about what video games I've been playing since I've last talked to you on this microphone. The mid section is the middle section of the show, not mid in quality, is where I tell you about what is going on around the video game world that you need to know. So all the news and releases and rumors and speculation, everything you need to know about the video game world is in the midsection each week, so that is the most important for sure. And the final section is the miscellaneous talk section, where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world, and I usually get into the worldwide world of sports here and tell you what is going on with all my favorite teams. And the only one that I am a fan of that's playing currently is the Atlanta Braves, so the third section will basically be an Atlanta Braves update. You can go along with my sports journey. It's been a pretty tough one this year, but I'm used to it over here on my sports fandom. But this is mainly a video game show, so that's what we're here to talk about today. So what have I been playing since I've last talked to you? I've been playing a lot of Switch 2 has been the main thing. So when the Switch 2 came out, I was hopeful it could be my main console that I use, and I think it's living up to that hype. And I'm enjoying the Mario Kart. That's the main launch game, so that is a strong argument out there. There's not a ton of reasons to upgrade right now, unless you want to play Mario Kart, or if you want to play some games that you currently own, or Switch, or games that you've been able to buy in a little bit better fashion. So I do see the argument for not upgrading now, but I think this is a really great console. I think there's going to be many great games on it over the course of its history, so I feel good about purchasing it early, even if there isn't some giant launch lineup, because I have millions of games to play, and they did really give us an excellent game with Mario Kart World. So I've been having a whole lot of fun with Mario Kart World. I think I'm in between the 10 and 15 hour mark on this game so far. I've completed all the Grand Prix races on the 50 and 100 cc, so I need to get into the 150 cc, which actually should be the fun racing. I've been doing some online matches. I've been driving around the open world. I've been having fun unlocking the costumes, and I've been having a lot of fun. I think the free roam is fun for when you don't know what you want to do in the game. So if you boot it up and don't know if you want to try to go at the Grand Prix, or if you don't know what you want to commit to online, I think the free roam is perfect for it. I like all the little challenges around there. It keeps reminding me more and more of Forza Horizon in a good way, and so like a mix between Mario Kart and Forza Horizon. So I think it's a really great video game, and I've also been having fun with the online matches. I think they're pretty difficult. I've been hearing the main talk about this game is the RNG. I mean, that's kind of been the case in most Mario Kart games, but people are saying in this game, you don't want to necessarily be in the lead at the end. You want to kind of stay a few back and then push for the end after all the big items have been gone through. So a little bit like a horse race or something like that. You don't want to use all your energy early, or like a sprint kind of thing. So I think it's probably pretty smart advice for playing online, but I think it just shows that there's some pretty good strategy to the online in there, along with the RNG, and I think that's what makes Mario Kart fun. I think if you are taking it super serious in some kind of way, it might not be the right place for it, even though I guess people play it competitively, but it's just a fun video game. There's a lot of good stuff going on. The characters are cool. All the items are, a little bit of the random item stuff is fun. Some of it's frustrating, but it's kind of just how the cookie crumbles is what I would say. But I've been having fun with this game. My main characters I've been shaping out as. There's a great roster in this game. They all have different costumes and outfits you can unlock. So the main ones I've been using, I've been playing a lot of Daisy. I have a dog named Daisy, so that's been an easy pick. And she has some pretty cool costumes. I think my favorite one of hers so far is her touring costume. I think I just unlocked one of her new costumes earlier, but I've been also playing a lot of Waluigi. So I think one of the coolest skins in the game is the Vampire Waluigi, so I've been using that some. And then I also like Oh yeah, I was playing some Yoshi last night, and I unlocked Biker Yoshi, and I've been enjoying that. So I think the biker forms, a lot of the characters are cool. I know Biker Waluigi is the one that I like using sometimes. So I've had a couple characters I've been sticking with, like Daisy and Waluigi, but I've been also branching out there and trying some of the other characters. So it's been fun to race around the open world and try out the new characters and see what costumes I like. And I've been having a whole lot of fun with this game. So I think Mario Kart World has been an excellent video game, and I think it is a great version of Mario Kart. So I think I'll continue playing this. I've been booting it up just kind of whenever. I think the free roam has been kind of perfect for that, and just playing for 20, 30 minutes or even less or whatever, or more or whatever. But I'm trying to think of other general overall Switch 2 thoughts I have. I've really been enjoying it. I haven't been playing too much in handheld. I've still been kind of, I guess, a little bit scared to hold it since it's like a new console and just trying to treat it with extra care. So I haven't really tried handheld too much, but I've been enjoying seeing this game on the screens running nice and in the nice visual, so it's been a plus. But I've also been playing The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This is a game that I vowed to complete. It's the video game monkey on my back. I've never completed a Zelda game, and I've been having a lot of fun with this game as well. So I've been making some progress here. I did a lot of shrine hunting this week, so I've just been tackling my backlog of shrines, which has been fun. I've been using a guide to complete most of the shrines because those are kind of the areas where I get frustrated with this game and maybe don't push forward. So I've been having an okay time with looking up how to do it and then just going and executing it. And it has me thinking a little bit playing through this. If I am somehow able to complete this game and do most of the shrines, I would probably have a great time playing this game again without using a guide and going back and trying to see what I can do from memory. So I'm really getting hooked on the Breath of the Wild front. I think this is an amazing video game. I'm starting to understand the reason people talk about and like all the freedom in this video game. I think that's one of the cool things that sets it apart, because I've been someone who's got into RPGs recently, and this is somewhat of an RPG, even though it's a lot more action stuff. But thinking about the RPG thing, I guess most games have RPG elements in them today, but just having this open world where you can kind of go do anything you want. There is some kind of clear through line, but it's not explicitly drawn out to you with markers, and I guess there are markers and waypoints, but you really have the freedom to do whatever you want in this world, and I think that's pretty cool. And I've been actually enjoying that more, where that's been something in the past that I think has been overwhelming, or it's like, hey, what do I actually go do in this? But you really can kind of go do whatever you want, and it's going to be okay in this video game. So I've been enjoying it more. So I've been completing my backlog of shrines. I think I really only have maybe 2 more that I can actually do. I've marked 2 of them that I need to do later. I've looked up, and there's some of the more harder combat challenge ones. One recommends having the Master Sword and more hearts or whatever, so I need to wait on those for a bit. So I put some markers over there to know that they are ones that I don't think I want to mess with at this point. So I have a couple that I want to go back and get. I've been messing with the Gorons. I'm trying to mess with the Gorons up there, but I've been messing with the Raidou, so I don't know which one of those Divine Beasts I'm going to do next. I just actually saw the Divine Beast on the Goron section. I just came across it while wandering around the mountain, and it was really, really cool to see. It looked like a dragon. It looked like it was eyeing me down for a bit, and maybe it was, and then it went back to its business, but the game looks amazing. And the art style of this game is amazing, and I think with the game running in with the new upgraded visuals, I think it's a perfect blend of things, and it's a great way to enjoy this game, and hopefully a lot of people out there in the world are doing so. So this game looks amazing on Switch too, and I've been having a whole lot of fun with the Breath of the Wild. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else in there I've been doing. I've mainly been doing the shrines, and that takes a lot out of me. So I haven't done as much exploring this week as I like to do, and exploring and cooking and just walking around. But I did find a tower earlier, which is nice. And some of those towers really do surprise me in that game. You come up on them, or you notice them, or you get to a new vantage point and see it, and maybe it was somewhere that you were previously but just didn't look at it the right way. So it's very interesting. It's been fun building the map out, and I still think that's very good advice in this game, given to me by the great Stoop Woot out there in the world, that if you don't know what to do in this game, looking for the towers is a great objective regardless. And I think also looking for the shrines, even if you don't want to complete them immediately, go up to the shrine, unlock it. You can fast travel back to it at any time you want to, and I think that's been a pretty good method for tackling this game so far for me. So I've been having a whole lot of fun with that, and those have been the main 2 games I've been playing, the Mario Kart World and The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. It is the year of no direction on the Dep Lewis Show, so my only bit of direction is I want to complete The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I think the year of no direction, I was, pondering on it. In the last week, I'm like, man, this half of the year is done. I haven't completed any video games. I've completed 2 video games from my backlog, so pretty weak sauce. And it's not like last year I completed a bunch of games, but I definitely completed some more. And I don't know what it's been. I think it's been a lot of anticipation on waiting on the Switch 2. And now that it's here, I just need to, get to business, I guess, is the deal over here. So I don't know if the year of no direction has been a great idea. So maybe for the second half of the year or some part of the year, I'm going to institute some type of direction. I've had the year of survival horror before. I've had the year of the RPG. And maybe it just needs to be like the year of the Switch 2 or something. I don't know. But maybe some form of direction would help. I would like to certainly complete some more games and have some more games in the discussion for myself for the end of the year talk. And it being June 15th right now is kind of a wild thing. So we are, officially halfway done with the year. And that is insane. So Switch 2, I've been taking up a lot of my mind space over here in the video game world. And I'm thankful that it's been a great experience. So just some things I'm kicking around over here in my video game brain. So that's everything I've been playing. Mario Kart World, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I'm trying to think if I played anything else this week. I've been playing a little bit of Pokemon Violet, messing with that some more. I've been playing a little bit of messing with some Final Fantasy stuff. I just re-downloaded Rebirth, trying to get back into my file there. Maybe starting a new file. I downloaded Remake again, so I have a second file going there after completing that game. So just messing around in the Final Fantasy world. I have a little bit of the Final Fantasy bug along with the Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy release. So that's also something I picked up this week, were a couple of those commander decks. So I got into Magic about a decade ago, and only for a couple years, and haven't been into it since. And something with the Final Fantasy mashup and Magic has like rekindled a little bit of me wanting to play and try that out. So I picked up a couple of these commander decks. I sleeved them up, and they're just going to be things I have around or able to bring over to play with somebody, at any time. So nothing I look at upgrading currently for these decks, but just like standard decks to have around if you want to have a beer, hang out, and play play a card game. I think it could be a fun thing to do. And I'm really, really impressed by the way those cards look. It was extremely fun to open them up and look at everything involved in there. It has all the characters I love from 7, and then some of the characters I've tried a little bit of the games or just enjoy from afar and want to play more of, like Tidus. But really, really cool set, and very lucky to find those. You haven't been able to find the booster packs anywhere, but the commander decks have been available, and I'm having a little bit of a Magic the Gathering resurgence over here. So you might hear me talking about that a little more in the future. So that's been some other stuff going on with me this week. So I've been into the Final Fantasy stuff, realizing how much I like the characters and the world and the things going on around there. So even looking at those cards, there was a lot of characters that were memorable in places and locations like Seventh Heaven, and just things that I wasn't immediately knowing I had some like type of high regard for or affinity to. So it makes me realize I need to look more into my liking of the Final Fantasy franchise. So who knows, maybe it'll be the year of Final Fantasy or something like that. But I'm going to think about that. The year of something, maybe I need to institute some direction here in the middle of the year. And of course, you will be the first to know here on the Dep Lewis Show each week. So that's going to wrap up the first section of the show. I've been playing a lot of Switch 2, having a lot of fun with it, and I hope you are too. So you're going to hear some music. We're going to come back for the midsection of the show, which is where I tell you about what is going on around the video game world that you need to know. So there were a couple showcases that happened last Sunday that I missed by just like an hour or so recording the podcast. So we're going to talk about those first and then get into all the other news of the week. There's actually been an announcement that might be one of my most anticipated, or is one of my most anticipated games, if not the most, that I have out there in the ether. So a surprise announcement, something I'm super excited about and really looking forward to telling you about in the midsection after this music. Welcome back to the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 133. This is where I tell you about what is going on around the video game world that you need to know. So last Sunday after the podcast on June 8th, there was an Xbox Games Showcase. So in the showcase, Xbox is giving us a look at upcoming titles from their first-party studios, in addition to titles from their third-party partners from around the globe. So what took place at the Xbox Game Showcase? Well, the first big announcement I want to tell you about was the ROG Xbox Ally and ROG Xbox Ally X handhelds that were announced. So Xbox is getting into the handheld game, and something that's been long rumored. I think it was a long-standing rumor that Xbox was going to be manufacturing their own handheld, but it seems like those plans were scrapped, and now they are partnering with ROG to make an Xbox Ally and a ROG Xbox Ally X handheld console. So these are two new handhelds that combine the power of Xbox with the freedom you expect from Windows. Both launch holiday 2025 in select markets, with availability to follow for other markets where ROG Ally series are sold today. So the ROG Ally is a current handheld out there on the market, and it is, I guess, just a Windows machine, and this is going to fully integrate Xbox into the UI in some form or fashion, or Xbox is going to be the main attraction here with the UI. I'm not all the way sure, but it's going to be, but you can basically see the ROG Ally out there now has the, what's it called? You can see basically what it's going to look like or what's going to be. You can see the vision. So I think it's a pretty cool thing. I think having Xbox on a handheld is a fun thing. Having the games natively on the handheld would be important to me, and I think that's what they're doing here. So together with Asus, we've combined our strengths and technical expertise to provide a premium gaming experience that travels with players wherever they go. With the Xbox Ally, it's never been easier to access your favorite games from Xbox, Battle.net, and other leading third-party PC storefronts, all from a single device. So pricing, pre-orders, and more will follow in the coming months. And I think that's a pretty cool thing. I think it's a cool option. I don't know if it's a day one pickup for me or even a day one pickup, if I had all the money in the world or, whatever. But I think it's an interesting thing. I enjoy playing. I was even saying in the first section, I haven't really even tried my Switch 2 in handheld too much because I feel like the device is too new and too premium. So I don't know if I need another handheld device. I think primarily I play on the screen. But being able to play some of these Xbox games in handheld is a little bit of the Switch 2 dream I have. Like, I'd like to be able to play Persona 3 Reload. I'd like to be able to play Persona 5 Royal. I'd like to be able to play Final Fantasy 7 Remake and Rebirth. And I think those are all going to eventually come to Nintendo Switch 2. And I think they're going to run perfectly fine, or I would assume they're going to run better and run okay. But I think those games running on a platform like this Xbox Ally will be the best way to look at it visually. But I don't know if it's worth the price tag or worth having the two consoles would be the argument against it for me. But these are things I'm definitely interested in. I'll be interested to see how much the price is going to be. I think these are going to be a little bit too expensive for my likings. I think these are going to get over the $500 mark, over the $600, maybe even the $700-$800 kind of mark just to get in on the console. And I don't know if that's something I would want to do for a device that wouldn't be my primary way of playing video games. I think that's something with the Switch 2 that's been nice, that I don't really need to have. I don't play enough games to warrant having, a million consoles really, besides just for fun. So having one dedicated console, I think, is okay for me and something I need to focus on a little more to, possibly complete some video games and, maximize the fun I'm having here with these video games. But I'm interested in these Xbox Ally handhelds, and that was felt like a long coming, but a cool announcement for Xbox. So some other things that were announced at the Xbox Game Showcase. Call of Duty Black Ops 7 has been announced. So a little bit of a surprise there since we're just coming off Call of Duty Black Ops 6. They don't usually go back to the well immediately. So for the first time in Call of Duty history, developers Treyarch and Raven Software are bringing players Black Ops titles back to back. So Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Xbox PC, Xbox Cloud, Xbox Play Anywhere, or play it day one on Game Pass. Also available on Battle.net, Steam, and PS5 and 4. So I think that's pretty cool that they are touting all those consoles, even prior gen Xbox One, PS4, are going to be able to get this game. So I find that a little bit interesting. I kind of think that might be a typo. So please double check me out there in the world. But that I'm sure that's not a typo, but I don't know if it was a typo on their part. I don't think I translated it incorrectly, but I was surprised when I was even typing that. I'm like, man, this game is really available on every platform. And I think that's a pretty cool thing. I think that's a little bit of their dream over there after buying Activision, is to really get their games to a mass market even more so. And I think that would be one way to do so, by having it available on every platform known to man, it seems like. But in Call of Duty Black Ops 7, I thought it was pretty cool. The trailer they showed off, it was kind of like a switcheroo. Like, I don't think a lot of people, including myself, thought it was a Call of Duty trailer while you were watching it. And it was really like, man, what is this? And then at the end, when the Call of Duty screen comes up, it was really kind of a surprise. Like, man, they really kind of tricked me. That seemed too cool or too good for a Call of Duty campaign at this point. And I think that was a perfect trailer. So congrats to them on putting that out. And I think it was a great way to introduce this game. So the back of the box talk on Call of Duty Black Ops 7 is the year is 2035 and the world is on the brink of chaos, ravaged by conflict and psychological warfare following the narrative events of Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 6. With cutting-edge technology in hand, the Black Ops team, led by David Mason, must fight back against a manipulative enemy who weaponizes fear above all else. So this tease is just the beginning, and don't miss the official reveal of Call of Duty Black Ops 7 over the summer. So I haven't really been in on the most recent Call of Duties, but it's a franchise I've played a lot of over the history of it, and I could see myself getting back into one of these games at the perfect time and place. So we will see. Maybe it'll be Black Ops 7, but I think they're trying to emphasize the story here in the single player campaign here. So I think that's a nice switchback. So if this game is more of a fully fledged package, and that's kind of maybe something to, that's a phrase right there, a fully fledged package. But if this game had a good single player and also good multiplayer along with it, once again, I think that could get people back on board with it, because I think that's something people enjoy, including myself. I'm talking about myself here. I enjoy having a nice Call of Duty campaign that you can play, maybe even replay, and then having some fun multiplayer along with it. I don't think that's too much to ask. I think games, back in my day, games would oftentimes have multiple modes like this, and it was just kind of expected. And I think they've kind of, thinking of it now, they siphon those things off, and maybe that's for the better, maybe, or you can reach some higher highs with these games, or you can fully flesh them out even more. But it was fun when each game would kind of take a stab at it. Sometimes it would flop or not be the main part of the game, but it was nice to have the option. And I think that's something I say on the show is a lot. It's nice to have the option, and that's something that was fun with Call of Duty. So Call of Duty Black Ops 7 has been announced. All right, what else from the Xbox Game Showcase? I was talking about Final Fantasy in the first section, and there were a couple Final Fantasy announcements in the Xbox Game Showcase. So Final Fantasy 16 is officially out right now, a surprise drop. The action RPG comes to Xbox platforms that day. So Final Fantasy 16, I believe, came out a couple years ago with an enormous medieval fantasy world, a dramatic, mature storyline, and lightning-fast action combat. Its release means that every single mainline single-player Final Fantasy game is now playable with Xbox. So I think that's a pretty cool phrase and something to tout, because I've really been getting into Final Fantasy, and I think that is a cool thing with having 16 games, at least the mainline games on there, available on your platform. I think that's pretty cool, and I think that's the case on PlayStation, obviously. And then I think Switch is pretty close there. I think they get up to 15 on the Switch, and maybe we'll see 16 running on there one day. I really would like to see these Final Fantasy games come to Switch 2, and I would like to see Persona come to Switch 2. I think those are my two biggest third-party bring-over wish list games. And I think, thinking through it, I don't think it's going to look exactly as good as it does on the PlayStation 5, but I think it would be serviceable, and I think having the handheld option is nice, and it makes me think in the upcoming week I need to play my Switch 2 handheld a little more so I can get a view on how that screen looks and things like that, because I don't really even know if I've had a play session minus a few minutes handheld. So I need to try that out this week, in the upcoming week, because I really can't speak on it, and I would like to be able to. But Final Fantasy 16 available right now on Xbox. And then Final Fantasy 7 Remake Intergrade, which is like the deluxe edition, the full edition of Final Fantasy 7 Remake Part 1, is the beloved expanded remake of the genre-defining Final Fantasy 7, is on its way to Xbox this winter. So relive the first act of iconic 1997 game as Cloud Strife, the legendary hero, meets unforgettable allies and explores the dystopian city of Midgar. So culminating in a dramatic escape, this pivotal chapter sets the stage for one of gaming's most legendary stories. So Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade includes both these base games and intermission, a story episode starring Yuffie Kisaragi, the spirited ninja from Wutai, and she's actually a really cool character. I don't know why I say actually, but I guess actually I know about her, so she's a cool character. Her episode offers a different perspective on the events of the main game, expanding the world and deepening the lore. Relive one of gaming's greatest stories on Xbox. So Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, I think this is an outstanding video game, and I'm excited for people on Xbox to be able to play it. What's it say? Xbox this winter. All right. So they're really hitting me hard with these franchises I like these days. And Xbox Game Showcase also announces the Persona 4 revival. The reveal of Persona 4 revival. So this has been officially announced. This has been rumored in the past few weeks with some of the voice actors not getting the job for this revival and being upset about it and kind of outing the game was being released. So some messy territory there. But Persona 5 revival has been officially announced. No release date or window yet. A remake of the modern classic JRPG Persona 4 Revival received a debut trailer showing off the game's gorgeous, updated visuals within the rural town of Inaba. I hope that's how you say it. Arriving as a transfer student, you'll experience an unforgettable year with new friends you meet along the way. However, rumors of bizarre murders and a mysterious TV channel quickly disrupt your peaceful everyday life. A door to another world opens, awakening your persona abilities. It is time to fight alongside your trusted allies to uncover the truth. So, this is a franchise I'm getting more and more into as the days go on, and I would love to play Persona 4 Revival at some point. So, I would love to complete the trilogy here of Persona 3 Reload, Persona 4 Revival, then Persona 5 Royal, and then maybe get into some Metaphor Refantasio. I think that would be a dream list of some RPG completion for me over here. So something I am bringing up right now on the podcast. So, you're going to come at me down the road and be like, hey, you haven't completed any of those games in 3 years. And I'll be like, yep, you're probably right about that. But you never know. You never know what's going to happen. You got to listen each week, and I'll keep you updated. So Persona 4 Revival has been officially announced. No release date or window yet, and I'm excited about that because I've been having a whole lot of fun with the Persona franchise recently. Okay, so what else was announced in the Xbox Game Showcase that I thought was extra cool? One thing here that I'm excited about is Super Meat Boy 3D. So this was revealed with the new trailer. Gaming's most iconic chunk of meat is back. Today's showcase revealed Super Meat Boy 3D from Sluggerfly and Head Up Games, who are taking Team Meat's indie darling into the third dimension. So this game is set to arrive early 2026. Super Meat Boy 3D is exactly what you love about the series, a challenging platform where you guide a cube of meat on a mission to rescue his bandage-made girlfriend from a villainous fetus in a jar, now in 3D. You'll wall jump through buzzsaws, collapsing caves, and fiery forest, dying countless times along the way. With old-school difficulty, fast-paced gameplay, tough bosses, and plenty of secrets, it's a new dimension for Meat Boy. So you can wishlist Super Meat Boy 3D today on the Xbox Store and get ready to die again and again and again where you played on day one on Game Pass. So Super Meat Boy is an incredible video game. It's an extremely hard platformer, but very fun to play. Friend of the show, Volnus, is a big Super Meat Boy fan, and he even bought the most recent release, which was a side runner, so like a on rails runner side scroller game, and he was really disappointed with it. So I told him about this release, and he even still has some apprehension from being wounded by his beloved Meat Boy. But this seems like this is going to be a return to form. I think the only question mark here is if this game is as fun to play in 3D as it is in 2D. So it seems like they're trying to do everything right from the 2D game that everybody loves, but doing it in a 3D fashion. And I think most of the times you see this with a lot of games, and I'm trying to think of them now, but you can see it with Mario, you can see it with Zelda, you can see it with Metroid, and these are games that Zelda and Metroid I haven't completed, but Mario I like both 2D and 3D, and I don't know if I had to pick which one I would like better. I think maybe I would lean 3D, but I think 2D is a little more trusty, but I don't know. I think it's a tough argument a lot of the times, and hopefully Super Meat Boy 3D is going to be presenting that argument to us as well. So I'm excited about this. This will be one, I would probably pick this up on day one because I really do enjoy Meat Boy, and this seems like bringing it to 3D would be the evolution I would like to see. And then if it can be back to some of the roots along with 3D, I think that's going to be a pretty killer combination. This game tends to not be a full price game, so that's another nice thing to have in the video game arsenal. And I am excited to have some fun with Super Meat Boy 3D, and hopefully it will live up to Volnus's aspirations and hopes. And that's the hope here. So listen up, Super Meat Boy 3D. You need to do right by Volnus. All right, so that was everything from the Xbox Game Showcase that I thought was extremely cool. So there were more games and things shown off, so please go check that showcase out if you'd like to, but I think those are the biggest things I'll be tracking and the biggest things I wanted to tell you about today. So after the Xbox Showcase last week, there was also an Outer Worlds 2 Direct. This was around 30 minutes in length, and it brings us inside the walls of Obsidian Entertainment, revealing new gameplay details and developer insights straight from the people making the sequel to the award-winning first-person sci-fi RPG. So this game, The Outer Worlds 2, is coming to Xbox Series X, PS5, and PC on October 29th, 2025. So I believe that was a new announcement, the release date. The Outer Worlds is a cool video game, something I played maybe 10, 15 hours of the first one. I did enjoy it. It definitely has some Mass Effect vibes to it. And I think that is a very cool thing. And I think this was a game a lot of people said after the first one, hey, this was really fun. I don't think it was the longest experience in video games. And they were saying, hey, it'd be cool to have a sequel of this, basically asking for more games. So hopefully that's all they're really delivering in the second one. It's been kind of a long time. I think 2017. I don't know if it said that in my notes here. I think 2017 seems kind of right for the Outer Worlds 1. It seems like it was kind of longer than you'd even think, but I could be wrong there, but I think there's pretty good hope for this game, and this won't be like a day one play for me, but this will be one that I'll have my radar up for and definitely want to see what people are thinking about it and check out some gameplay. So there is an Outer Worlds 2 Direct if you want to go watch that out there. It's around 30 minutes in length, so I just wanted to make you aware of that. All right, there was a couple more showcases. I didn't actually watch these two, but I just want to make you aware of them, and I looked up some details from the next one I want to tell you about. But Death Stranding 2 had an On the Beach live game premiere, and Death Stranding 2 comes out in a couple weeks, so this game's actually going to release on June 26th, so that's probably one of the biggest upcoming releases that there is right now, or the next one on the books, really. So Death Stranding 2 On the Beach live game premiere took place June 8th, and it was live inside the Orpheum Theater in Los Angeles, California. It was hosted by Jeff Keighley and presented by Kojima Productions. So this exclusive event features a live demonstration of Death Stranding 2, or DS2 as they like to call it, which I think is cool, on the beach. A panel with special guests and an inside look at the creative process from the legendary mind behind it all, Hideo Kojima. So this game is coming out on June 26th, and if you want to go watch some gameplay, there's been a lot out there and a lot of things to take in on this game. I think it looks generally pretty cool. Some of the stuff turns me off in this game, some of the horror stuff and some of the, I guess, like the baby stuff and things like that, but I could see myself getting into this. I don't know if it's worth going back to the first one. I've heard a lot of people talking great things about DS2. I am a fan of Kojima from Metal Gear, so this is one I could see myself playing at some point, but I really want to see a little bit before I would go in and spend my own cash on it. So if you want to go see some more footage from Death Stranding 2 that's available right now, they had a Death Stranding 2 On the Beach live game premiere last week. All right, so the last showcase I want to tell you about this week, there's been a lot of news over the summer. It's like E3 season from the past, but now we just get lots of different showcases and events and things like that, and it's fun to tell you about them here on this show. So there was one that took place last week, the Konami Press Start 2025. Konami held an official stream with new games and updates. They were talking about upcoming games like Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, which I think they led the show with, and that game comes out August 26, 2025. That's a game I'm not really going to tell you about here too much because it's something, I think that's a day one purchase for me, something I'm very excited to play and try out, and I don't really need to see any more footage of it myself, but if you're looking to get every ounce of information on that game before it releases, there was some in this Konami Press Start 2025, but Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater is going to release on August 26, 2025, and that is the main bit of information that I'm looking forward to right there. But Konami Press Start 2025 was a stream. It was about 36 minutes in length and available to watch now, so as always, I'm not talking about all the games from the showcase, so please go watch it for yourself. There might be something in there, that I missed that you really like. But the Konami Press Start 2025 revealed the Silent Hill remake. So they showed off an official announcement teaser trailer. This is the 1999 game is getting a remake. No release window or anything else though. This is being developed by the same studio Bloober team that did the Silent Hill 2 remake from last year. And the Silent Hill 2 remake is essentially a standalone game in the series. So that's probably why that one came out first, I read. And then Silent Hill 1 is followed directly by the sequel, Silent Hill 3. So that could be next in order here. So Bloober team is on a hot streak. I know people are going to be super excited for this Silent Hill remake, and I think that Silent Hill 2 remake has been the one that has got me closest to wanting to try it, and maybe still being close to wanting to try it. I think I've heard a lot of great things about that from people who even like retro games or who only play retro games and very minimal current games. I've heard a lot of people who just play current gen games love that game, so it seems like it's serving a lot of markets there, and an extremely good remake. So something I could see myself wanting to try at some point if I was brave enough over there to try the Silent Hill 2 remake. But the Silent Hill 1 remake has been officially announced, and I know a lot of people are over the moon about that. So from Silent Hill fans as well, they got another announcement, Silent Hill F. This is going to release on September 25th, 2025. It is $69.99 US. It's coming out for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and Microsoft Windows. This one's developed by Neobards Entertainment and published by Konami. Hinako, I believe, is the main character. Hinako's hometown is engulfed in fog, driving her to fight grotesque monsters and solve eerie puzzles, uncover the disturbing beauty hidden in terror. So the series producer, Motoi Okamoto, says about this game, and I thought this was a pretty cool quote, "I began to develop a desire to create a Silent Hill that embodied 100% Japanese-style horror. If I were to create a Silent Hill with a Japanese aesthetic, I believe that a production team from Japan or Asia would be ideal." And that's basically why he chose the team Neobard. So I think this is really cool. There was some talk of, Western style horror games versus Japanese style. I think they tried to say Silent Hill 2 remake and Silent Hill 1, they're more of a mixture. And I think it's cool that they're doing one that is just using the tropes or in the style of Japanese horror. I think it's a pretty cool thing. And I think if you're a Silent Hill fan, like I said earlier, I think I got to quit saying this, but the options are super nice. And if you're a Silent Hill fan, having the option to play something that's like the series producer's kind of like, I don't want to call it his love child, but it was something he was desiring to make. And I think that's pretty cool. You're going to hopefully get to see his passion in there. And I think it's a interesting take, and I commend them for, I guess, not trying something new, but it's an offshoot of your franchise, and I guess you are trying something a little bit newer, a little bit more specific, and I think that's a really cool way to do so. And they've built up a lot of goodwill recently with their releases, and then having something like this, trying something a little bit new, I think it's the perfect time to do so. So if they can execute here, I think they're going to be on an incredible run, and I think that's an extremely successful franchise anyways. But it's definitely seen a rekindling, I would say, and I think they are looking to light the flame up even more. So those were the two big things from the Konami press start 2025 I saw, and that was the end of all the big showcases from the past week that I wanted to tell you about. But the one thing I mentioned in the first section, something I'm very excited to tell you about that has been announced, one of my favorite franchises of all time, one of my favorite video games of all time, and this was a surprise last week. And I gotta say, I think this was one of the, besides the Switch 2, this has to be one of the biggest announcements or surprise things. I guess not a surprise thing, but I'm trying to think of other surprise announcements. But this is one of my best video game things of the year so far, and that is the announcement of Splatoon Raiders, a new Splatoon game, a brand new Splatoon game, kind of an offshoot Splatoon game, kind of like I was just talking about Silent Hill getting an offshoot in their game. It's going to be something more specific, and I am beyond excited to try it because I love Splatoon. So Splatoon Raiders has been announced. There's a trailer you can watch now. The first ever Splatoon spin-off game coming to Nintendo Switch 2. In the role of mechanic, players will go on an adventure in the mysterious Spherolite Islands along the Splat-tacular Deep Cut Trio. More info regarding the title will be shared in the future. So, I mean, talk about cool, talk about perfect, talk about an awesome, exciting, wonderful announcement, and I couldn't be more excited. I really never played any single-player Splatoon, so this has me wanting to go back and play single-player Splatoon 3, and then also possibly try the side order DLC. So I think the way they're handling this is excellent, and I think I'm doing exactly what they want me to do, and I think I'm exactly happy about it. So I mean, I think it's a perfect trade-off, and I think it's a good exchange here. So I'm super excited for Splatoon Raiders to be announced. I couldn't, I would be asking for Splatoon 4, and I'll still be asking for Splatoon 4, but I'm super happy with Splatoon 3 still. It has been upgraded for Switch 2, which has been very nice. I don't know if the online connectivity stuff has been fixed yet, but that's something I would like to explore and definitely will be investigating. So Splatoon 3 being a game I could still play and be happy for many years, I think it's fine that they're not announcing Splatoon 4. And I think it's extremely cool that they're announcing Splatoon Raiders. And I think it's a really, really cool, like I said, cool. I think it's awesome. I think it's a smart move by these companies. I think it's a non-greedy move. I think it's a non-lazy move. I think it's a little bit of a risky move, but I think it could have high reward. So you have people playing your base game. If they're still loving it, why, rush the sequel? If you're still adding content into it, why rush it? If you can still fully flesh out the game, continue to do so, and then produce something extra cool or unique on the side or in conjunction with. And I think that's exactly what they're doing here. I think it needs to be recognized, and I think it needs to be praised. And shout out to Splatoon for being an amazing franchise and one of the coolest franchises on Nintendo. And I hope that's going to continue for a long, long time. So I'm beyond excited for Splatoon Raiders. I think it's one of my most anticipated games out of all the games right now, and I would like to make a list of those. I need to maybe keep a list of what I'm most excited for in the future that's been officially announced, and Splatoon Raiders probably has to be number 1 or number 2. So I can't wait for Splatoon Raiders, and just way to go Nintendo. So along with the announcement of Splatoon Raiders, they have announced some updates for Splatoon 3. There's a free update coming June 12th, so that's already taken place for Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2. The update features the Splatlands collection consisting of new weapons from the Barazushi and Embers brands. Based on previous weapons, these new additions have fresh looks with different subs and special weapons. So there is a total of 30 new weapon kits in this collection. A returning stage from the original Splatoon game on Wii U called Urchin Underpass will also be added to the stage rotation. Plus, all weapon freshness caps will be raised and players can earn new in-game badges. A new stat will be added for Anarchy Battle Series called Series Weapon Power. It will track a player's effectiveness per weapon based on their win-loss ratio in battles and will then match them with players of a similar power. This makes it possible for players to try new weapons without being disadvantaged and push the limits of their favorite weapons. That's extremely cool. I'm going to go back and talk about some of this stuff. Further, with this new update Splatoon 3, players on Nintendo Switch 2 can enjoy more detailed visuals and a smoother appearance in locations like Splatsville and the Grand Festival grounds. Today's trailer also confirmed that Splatoon 3 players will be able to play together across both Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2. As Deep Cut would say, catch you later. So, how wonderful to have a game that's extremely wonderful, a 10 out of 10 video game according to me, get updated with more content. So the new weapons and all that is very cool. The addition of the player effectiveness per weapon and the matchmaking based on the weapon I think is cool. As someone who's basically used the same weapon for 90% of my Splatoon 3 playing, I think this would be another cool incentive to try out the other weapons. I've had some desire to try out the other weapons. I just haven't found anything I like better than what I'm using. But if I am joining a match based on the rank of my weapon, I think that could allow me to, work out the kinks with these new weapons and not be getting completely crushed online. So I think that's a pretty cool thing. I don't think it's something I really considered I don't think it's completely necessary, but I think it's a cool option. I think it's a cool thing to have in the game, and I think it's something that could be a cool hook to get me to play this game a little bit more or a little bit longer, or try some new things out that could get me to play a little bit longer. So I have Splatoon 3 in my rotation always. At this point, it's always a game that I could have the potential to play, and them adding more stuff into it like this is just icing on the cake. And that's another phrase I like to say, but it really is icing on the cake with a wonderful video game getting more added to it. So just, I'm just super thankful to them for doing that. So way to go, Splatoon. All right. So what else? I have a couple more things to tell you about this week. There's been a lot of video game information. So the Nintendo Switch 2, we talked about that earlier, and there was a lot of rumors and allegedlys about the opening sales for it, and the Nintendo president himself, Shintaro Furukawa, has come out and said Nintendo Switch 2 sold over 3.5 million units worldwide in the 4 days following its release on June 5th, 2025. This is the highest global sales level for any Nintendo hardware within the first 4 days. The Nintendo of America president and chief operating officer Doug Bowser also said, fans around the world are showing their enthusiasm for Nintendo Switch 2 as an upgraded way to play at home and on the go. We are thankful for their response and happy to see the fun they are already having with the Nintendo Switch 2 as they explore new features and games that are bringing friends and family together in new ways. So really just congrats to them. I'm super happy with the console. I think the sales are amazing. I think it's going to continue to sell. I think they did a wonderful job of cracking down on the scalpers and having enough stock at launch to not meet the demand, because the demand is too high, I believe. But they were able to meet a significant amount of the demand. And I think if you were really tuned in, and I don't know, I go back and forth on this, because I was only able to get a console because I went to GameStop on the day the pre-orders were available, and I waited for about an hour and got kind of lucky. So I was able to get a copy in person. But I've tried, before to buy the console. I tried in the meantime, possibly even to buy another console, and was unable to do so. I even tried when they were restocking, just say, hey, can I get one of these in my cart, and just have the option. Maybe I pick one of these up again, or, offer it to a friend or something, or have a backup Switch 2 or whatever it may be. But I just put them in my in the cart, and I wasn't able to get one. So I don't know how easy it's been to get one. I think there's been a couple of scenarios where you have a chance to get one, but it hasn't been the easiest thing in the world to get one of these consoles, and they've sold a ton of them, and they've also had some sort of thought process behind, getting them out to the people that want them. So I think they've done a good job of mitigating that issue as much as they can, because I don't think you can fully solve it, but I think they did a wonderful job at this launch, and like I've been saying, I'm super thankful I got one. I'm thankful to GameStop for being able to get one on launch day at midnight in person, pick it up, and that's been exciting, because I've tried out here online just for shit's sake, and it's been hard to get one in your cart and be able to press purchase on it. So I hope everyone can get one sooner than later, and I think they're going to sell a ton of these consoles over time, and I think the snowball is rolling here. So we're going to see. I think I predicted Nintendo Switch 2 will be the best-selling console of all time, and we will see. Only time will tell, and I'm having a blast with the Nintendo Switch 2. All right, a couple more announcements for this week. One thing I want to remind you of, Stellar Blade, that's a video game. It was previously a PS5 exclusive. It's now available on PC. So just a quick hitter and a reminder here that Stellar Blade is available on PC now. developed by Shipped Up Corporation and published by PlayStation Publishing LLC. Save humanity from extinction and post-apocalyptic action-adventure Stellar Blade. Experience blistering combat and a twisting storyline as you unravel the mysteries of Earth's downfall. So this game initially released on April 2024. It has a really, really cool demo, something I've been interested in playing, and I think has multiple difficulty levels, which I think is fun for one of these action kind of games and not always the case these days. And I think it's cool it's going to PC, so just wanted to remind you that Stellar Blade available now on PC and PlayStation 5. All right, a game in the upcoming week that I'm interested in. I don't think it's a day one purchase for me, but I'm interested to see what people think about this, to see some more about this, and potentially pick it up in the future. And that is Raidou Remastered, The Mystery of the Soulless Army. So I've been on a pretty big Atlas kick here with Persona and playing some Metaphor and really getting into Persona recently, I guess, is the main one. So this is an Atlas game, and that's what really has me hooked here. And it being on Switch 2, I'm enticed by it having Switch 2 visuals and being, properly running on the Switch 2, not being a Switch 1 game, being just up-resed or, not really having anything done to it on the Switch 2. So that's one of the hooks here that wants me to possibly try this, but I might just hold out for the Persona releases and the Final Fantasy releases eventually come into Switch 2, I would hope. I guess Final Fantasy's been announced and Switch and Persona is just more of a wish, but I think that's more, I don't think it's too out of the realm of possibility. But in Raidou Remastered, The Mystery of the Soulless Army, you can unleash the supernatural. Undertake the case of the century in this must-play classic from Atlus, the studio behind Shin Megami Tensei Remaster's Devil Summoner Raidou Kuzunoha vs. the Soulless Army. With revamped visuals, quality of life updates. I like how they abbreviated quality of life QOL. Something I gotta keep my eyes out for in the future, because some of these acronyms you don't immediately recognize, but quality of life updates, that's easy enough. And then they said new VOs, voiceover, and the overhauled battle system. So Taisho is 20. In the capital, a young heiress approaches the Narumi Detective Agency with a strange request to kill her. Without any further explanation, the girl is kidnapped. Apprentice Detective Raidou Kuzunoha, the 14th, who moonlights as a devil summoner, assigned to protect the capital, is on the case. Raidou investigates all across the city, which includes entering the Dark Realm, a dangerous juncture between the real world and the netherworld where demons abound. Become Raidou Kuzunoha and work with your allied demons to unravel the mysteries that block your path. What once was a missing persons matter soon spirals into a conspiracy that will not shake just the capital but the entire nation. As an enhanced yet faithful remaster, the supernatural action RPG classic returns, now revamped with visual, audio, and combat enhancements for modern consoles while staying true to the original game style. A brand new UI, full VO, expanded 3D environments, and more invites both veterans and newcomers alike to a nostalgic and thrilling gameplay experience. So, man, that's really, even rereading that is kind of selling me more on this game. I think it has the same loop in there that these Persona games have. It's selling me a little bit more on the Shin Megami Tensei games, which I do have one of those on Switch. And I don't know, I maybe would like to play this. I like how it talks about the juncture between the real world and the netherworld, so that's something common in the Persona games as well. So it seems like I would understand the loop from the get-go here. I like the anime style of it. I would love to be able to hear the music from this game, so this one's ticking up there on my radar and possibly something I could be playing. So imagine I play some Raidou Remastered, The Mystery of the Soulless Army, and then Persona 3 Reload gets announced later in the year. Man, I really do think these games are going to come to Switch 2. That's kind of my conundrum right now. Do I keep plugging along on these games a little bit on the PlayStation 5, or do I wait for them to come to the Switch 2? What a conundrum. What a big worry. What a big cause of concern in my life. But something that's, something I've been thinking about for real. So overflow of good video games here is a problem and not a real problem. But, Raidou Remastered, The Mystery of the Soulless Army is coming out in the upcoming week, and I think that's super enticing. All right, what else? The last announcement from this week that I have to tell you about in the video game world is the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered has been updated. 1.1 is available now. It's focused on quest, major bugs and blockers, and quality of life fixes. Another update in the upcoming weeks planned as well. That one's going to focus on performance. So this remastered modernizes the 2006 Game of the Year with all new stunning visuals and refined gameplay, explore the vast landscape of Cyrodiil like never before, and stop the forces of Oblivion from overtaking the land of one of the greatest RPGs ever for the award-winning Bethesda Game Studios. This is going to be available on Game Pass, Xbox Series X, S, PlayStation 5, Windows, and Steam. Or it is available right now. I don't know why I'm saying that. The game's available now. Elder Scrolls 4 Remastered, available now. It's extremely good. I've played maybe 15 hours of it, had a lot of fun Oblivion is one of my favorite games, and this is a wonderful remastered. So please go check that out, and it has an update right now that's making it even better. So that is everything I have for you in the midsection of the show this week. We talked about a lot of things. We talked about the Xbox Game Showcase, including the ROG Xbox Ally and the ROG Xbox Ally X handhelds, Call of Duty Black Ops 7, Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy 7 Remake Intergrade, Persona 4 Revival, Super Meat Boy 3D. We talked about the Outer Worlds 2 Direct, the Death Stranding 2 On the Beach live game premiere. We talked about Konami Press Start 2025. We talked about the wonderful, exciting, super hype announcement of Splatoon Raiders, the updates to Splatoon 3. We talked about the Nintendo Switch 2 sales, Stellar Blade, Raidou Remastered, The Mystery of the Soulless Army, and the most recent update to the Elder Scrolls 4 Remastered. So that is everything I have for you this week that you need to know across the video game world. And just thank you so much for listening to that. So we have one final section of the show, the Miscellaneous Talk section, left to go, and it's going to be a quick update on my sports fandom. So please listen to this music and come back for the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 133, after this. Welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 133. This is where I can talk about anything I want to outside of the video game world. So I just want to get into the worldwide world of sports and keep you up to date with what is going on with all my favorite teams. So with the NFL, the Carolina Panthers are in the offseason. All we're looking forward to there is the preseason begins on August 8th, and the regular season begins on September 7th at Jacksonville. The NBA right now has the NBA Finals going on. It is the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Pacers. I'm going for the Pacers. I'm a halfway fan of the Hornets, so just the offseason for them. And I'm an all-the-way fan of the Atlanta Hawks, just the offseason for them. So the only sport I have to enjoy right now is Major League Baseball, and the Atlanta Braves, my favorite team in the universe. So since last week, the Braves played at San Francisco last Sunday. It was an afternoon game. The Braves lost 3-4. The Braves' record was 27-37 after this. That was their 7th loss in a row. So pretty bad, pretty bad as a week as you can have in Major League Baseball. And the Braves have bounced back this week a little bit, which has been nice. So the Braves have really had a down season, a down season, a little bit of an up. And they hit back of a little bit of down. They're trying to get back up. So, they're at least fighting over here this season. Their record's pretty poor. They're not doing very good in the standings, but I like the fight they're showing, and it shows me a little bit of hope for the second half of the season at least. I don't think the hope is completely lost yet. So in this current week, the Braves have been playing. They started the week off in Milwaukee at the Brewers. The Braves won 7-1 on Monday. They lost 1-4 on Tuesday, and the Braves won 6-2 on Wednesday. That was a 2 p.m. afternoon game. Thursday, the Braves got a day off, and then the weekend has been in Atlanta versus the Colorado Rockies. So these are all games the Braves should win, and they have done so far. So Friday night, the Braves won 12-4. Saturday night, the Braves won 4-1. So the Braves are going to play Colorado again today at 1:35. So that is in about an hour in real time from when I'm recording this podcast. So I'm going to watch that today. And then for the upcoming week, the Braves are actually off tomorrow on Monday. They have 3 versus the Mets in Atlanta and then 3 at Miami. So a week filled with division games and a week filled with the Braves should get 2 versus the Mets, and they should get all 3 against Miami. So they should be 5 wins next week. So we will see if that actually comes to fruition. But Ronald Acuna Jr. is back out there playing baseball, and that's been amazing. He's been hitting home runs. Every at-bat for him is fun to watch. And he's my favorite baseball player in the universe. So I'm super thankful he's back, even in this losing effort of a season so far. But I'm still holding on some hope, and I'm still enjoying watching the Braves, and especially Ronald Acuna Jr. as always. And KK Strider last night pitched, had a ton of strikeouts, pitched an extremely long game, pitched extremely well, had his velo back up there and looking really good. Slider was really having some great movement on it, and super nice to see Strider back, and hopefully that can continue next start. And that'll be one I'm really looking forward to seeing, because it seemed like Stella, aka KK Strider, got his groove back, and I hope that can continue. So coming off an injury is tough. It was looking a little rough there. People were writing him off immediately, and then he comes back last week with an outstanding effort. So we got to give him some credit there. And I think my guess would be this is going to be the Spencer Strider we're going to keep seeing, and only getting better. And just hope and pray that he can stay healthy is the main thing. I don't think he's lost his juice. I don't think he doesn't have it between the ears. I think it's been his his body working against him, and having to get back up to where he was and feeling comfortable and being strong mentally with, being in unison with your body and your mind. And I think that's what he's working on here. So, way to go, KK Strider. Another great Bravo. I enjoy watching play. So, go Braves. So that's everything I have for you for the final section of the show. Just a quick update on the sports world. And just thank you so much for listening to the entire show. So I'd like to reiterate some promotional talk from the beginning. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. Find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. If you'd like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. Also, Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. So thank you so much for listening. As always, I hope you have a wonderful week out there in the world. There is a slight chance I might take a week off from an episode next week, just for a little bit of a breather. I think that's probably something I need to do from time to time, just to have a little bit of a reset. I think it's been a full year since I've ever missed an episode, but I can't promise I won't be here. It might actually be early. I'm doing a little bit of traveling next weekend. That's not the reason for not doing an episode, but it might just be a good week to take a pause. We've had the release of the Switch 2. There is the upcoming release of Death Stranding 2, but there's nothing I'm going to play, I don't think, new until the new Donkey Kong. So it could be a good opportune week to take a break. Relax, rejuvenate. I guess that's probably something people need to do from time to time, but I enjoy doing this so much. It's a big part of my week is getting this together and presenting it to you every Sunday. I have so much fun doing it. I have so much fun putting it out and looking forward to doing it each week, but it might just be something I need to do. So just a little bit of a heads up there. If you don't see me next week, it might just be a little bit of quick break, a little podcast vacation, and maybe just like a built-in, I don't know. Maybe I just need to force myself to do it. So maybe that's what I'll do, but we'll see. Either way, thank you for listening. I'll be back at some point. If it's not next week, it'll be the week after for sure. And just thank you so much for being a Dep Lewis Show listener. And I hope you have a wonderful week out there in the world. I hope you are able to get a Switch 2 if you're looking to get one. I hope all your sports teams win. And I hope you have a great week out there in the world. And I'll be back next time for another episode of Dep Lewis Show.